Yeah, I started recording. So thank you for pointing that. So yesterday we discussed that the generation and demodulation of AM is quite simple, and the circuits used those, along with their working, are also simple. So then the question is that since everything is so good, तो फिर problem क्या है? So there are two problems. So let's come to the problems. One, DSP suppressed carrier modulation. Yes. So let's consider, to illustrate the problems, let's consider the simple case. So power, first power. To illustrate this, uh, we consider this. Now, since we have discussed this yesterday, I can directly write this as this. Fine. So you know how to calculate the total power of this thing, right? So yes, you know how to calculate the total power of this thing. So let PS power, then yes, who will tell me the power? So if I
It's
ask you,
related.
yeah,
It's related to amplitude square, right?
yes, it's related to amplitude square. So for this part, if I ask you the power of this thing, it simply is AC square by 2, right?
Yes, sir.
This you have, this you should have done in a lot of course. Even this you should have done in class 12th as well. AC. So plus AC square mu square by 8 plus AC square mu square by 8 equals AC square by 2 plus AC square mu square by 4. AC square 1 plus mu square by 2. Fine. This is the total power. Now, the fraction of total power being used for transmission of the modulating signal is so this is the component, the modulating signal. This is the component. Someone has their mic on. Please just cross check. Yes. So let's call that fraction eta, and eta equals mu square by 2 divided by 1 plus. Right. Now, my screen is not visible. Okay. Okay, it's visible to me on the other call. So I view.
It's visible.
Okay, so all those who cannot see the screen can like Abdul's message. Seven. And others like Anjali's message. That's the 2. Okay, so unfortunately, since some people can see it, so the problem unfortunately lies at your end. So this is one big problem with these live classes. So what I can do is all those who cannot see the screen. Yeah, I'll do that. So I did that. Excellent. Excellent. Yeah, now just stop telling me it's visible. I get that it's visible now. So yes. Now since mu is strictly less than 1 or mu is less than or equal to 1, eta max equals half over.
Be one of my favorite stories.
Okay. Oh, bye.
Okay, Samarth, I couldn't follow that. Okay, cool. So yeah, so the maximum efficiency of this thing is 33%, which is not good. The other thing is that so this is wasteful on power. The other thing is that this is the, sorry, this should be symmetric. So this is the time domain signal. Right, and I want to send this. So Fine. So now you see that in the baseband, the information is contained only within this. So when I transmit in the passband, this negative sideband, this or the two sidebands, so the sidebands around FC are exact replicas of each other. So I'm actually sending the same information twice, which is wasteful on bandwidth. So this simple AM, though it is yeah, so there's a typo in the printed notes, so I'll correct that. So that will get updated automatically. Anyway, so this simple AM, though simple, is quite wasteful, and we don't want to waste resources. So what we
Sir, can you explain again why is it wasteful?
wasteful see wasteful if you look at it in terms of power, you see that the maximum power efficiency that you can achieve is 33%. Or only 33% of the total power that you transmit is actually used for transmitting the information. Everything else is used for transmitting the carrier component. Right? From this.
Sir?
Yeah.
Is the power argument and this below argument the essentially same thing?
No. So this is the power argument. The other thing is that, yeah, this one uses power as well, but here you are more worried about, so bandwidth is a precious resource. If you see, just look at the spectrum allocations, or Airtel and all, Airtel, Jio, all these people essentially charge you for using their spectra. And if you see that the amounts of money for which they buy this spectrum is humongous. So you are essentially sending two copies of the same signal. So the spectrum on the green band and the spectrum on the, this is red, I believe. Yeah, the spectrum on the red band are exactly identical. So the information contained within this green and red is exactly identical, but we are spending it twice. We are sending it twice. So consider it. Think of it this way: the bandwidth for which you could have charged two customers, you have to charge just one customer for that, which means that that fellow obviously pays double, and your subscriber base gets smaller, so you earn even less. So you have to manage this bandwidth carefully. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, excellent.
Sir, but that this duplicate, I mean, having two exact replicas is a direct consequence of the, I mean, of the aliasing we are doing, right? Because any
We are not doing aliasing. Aliasing will come if we have time towards the end of this course. We'll cover sampling again. So we are not doing aliasing. What we are doing is we are shifting the entire spectrum. So this baseband signal here, this thing, this baseband signal, we are copying we are shifting the entire spectrum, including the negative frequencies. But we know that for a real valued signal, the negative spectrum is just a copy of the positive spectrum. Right? So
yes, sir.
Negative spectrum is in a way useless, or it's useless to transmit negative spectrum along with the positive spectrum, because it conveys the same information. But if you have a complex baseband signal, then the negative spectrum is so the spectrum is, if the spectrum is or the signal is complex valued in time domain, then obviously the spectrum won't be symmetric. And both these sidebands will contain different amounts of information. But for a real valued signal, both these contain the exact same information. So you're sending the same thing twice. You get my point?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. So now we'll deal with these issues one by one. So first, let us talk about power. Yeah, so just side question. All those who have seen Shaktiman, raise your hands. Because every time I read this word, I get reminded of that thing. Yeah. So I believe you get the power reference. So coming back. So first we talk about power, and in order to save power, let's say that ST equals fine. Instead of doing what we did earlier, let the modulated signal be this. Therefore, fine. So now if so this, so now if this is MF, so in this case, so you see that there is no carrier signal, or there is no impulse at FC and minus FC, which corresponds to the carrier signal. So this is one major difference. Now, the question is that how do we perform this multiplication? The answer is I'll draw another circuit. So let this be empty. EC people, do you know what is this?
Transformer.
Yeah, just confirming. Yes, you have done this in rectifiers, so you would know. Excuse my drawing. Fine. So now tell me. So this is what is there, and this is CT. So CT is applied, and we identify 4 points. Let's call them A, B, C, and D. So now tell me what happens when this C. What happens when CT is in the positive half cycle? To make life slightly simpler, let's call these D1, D2, D3, D4. And let's call these points as P, Q, R, and S.
So,
Yes.
are you trying to create some full wave rectifier? Because
No, I'm not trying to create a full wave rectifier. So just look at this. Let's call these points P, Q, R, and S. And tell me what happens when CT is in the positive half cycle. So CT is still cos 2 pi FCT. CT is still cos 2 pi FCT. Tell me what happens when CT is in the positive half cycle. You can tell me in terms of these diodes D1, D2, D3, and D4. So assume that again CT is large enough so MT being positive or negative doesn't affect you. It's only CT that matters. Based on that, tell me. Come on. Aditya, yes.
Sir, D1 would be on because when CT is in positive half cycle,
Yes.
D1 would be on. D3 would be off, right?
Yes.
And D2 would be on, and D4 would be off.
shouldn't D4 be on?
No, D3 and D4 will be off. So this is what the MT, and I call this, okay, let me call this XT instead of ST, because we use we use ST for the modulated signal, and we don't have the modulated signal yet. So let's not prejudice you. Let's call this XT. So this. So XT equals MT when CT greater than 0. Fine.
The presence of CT won't change XT.
No. Just that it comes out this way. It's just there to bias the diodes. Actually, the idea is this acts as switches. So actually, if you do this in the lab, then you'll be more comfortable with these ideas. So in the lab, this works.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Yeah, even I'm not comfortable with the fact that this MT, this CT doesn't interfere with MT. I agree, but actually when you do it, it doesn't. So I would think of it as these diodes act simply as switches. So in the negative half cycle, so D3 and D4 are off in the positive half cycle because in the positive half cycle, so I'll draw it here, possibly using this highlighter. So using the highlighter, so in the positive half cycle, oh sorry, this is too thick. The positive half cycle, this is positive, this is negative. So similarly, this is positive and this is negative. So in the positive half cycle, D3 would be, so D3 and D4 are reverse biased. That's why. Yeah, fine.
So
Yeah,
uh,
Subhashish.
I have one doubt. In
Yeah.
order to tackle power issue of power, you change the change the signal to AC times M times cos, right?
Yes.
So how are you tackling the omega bandwidth?
I just said that. So if you read over here, first let us talk about power. I'm not talking about the bandwidth.
Yeah, power it's AC square AM square, so it's completely
See,
modulating
Subhashish,
power.
I've told you earlier as well. Uh, you have done the course earlier. That's a good thing.
So I haven't done the
Let me progress at the speed of the course. You have read everything earlier, which is good.
No sir, I just saw
Yeah,
calculated it right now.
let me progress. So another way to answer your question would be that if I tell you at the outset that okay, Ned Stark dies and everyone except Daenerys and Jon Snow dies, would you watch through the good 6 seasons and the bad 7th season and the absolutely terrible 8th season?
No.
Yeah, exactly. So let the game build.
Okay sir. Sorry sir.
So yeah, I'll come to bandwidth when we'll come to bandwidth when we discuss it. Right now we know that bandwidth is one issue. We have that at the back of our mind. We won't address it directly. We'll address that.
Sir.
Yeah.
In this, while biasing these diodes, why won't MT affect
we
like the
consider that or we generally assume that CT is much larger than MT.
Oh, okay.
So the approximate effect of MT is lost.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So all of these are approximate circuits. Actually, what this is building towards is, or what these basic discussions on AM and FM, what these are building towards the analysis of AM and FM in noise. So these circuits are just to give you a bird's eye view of how things practically work. So actually, if you are more interested in the working of circuits for these communications, so there is a book called Electronic Communication Systems by George Kennedy and Watt Davis. by George Kennedy and Bernard Davis. Tata McGraw-Hill, and so now it's just McGraw-Hill, the 4th edition. It came out in 1999. So there you can find better descriptions of all these circuits. But the problem with that book is that it has minimal amounts of mathematics. So all the discussion over there is intuitive, and it doesn't actually work on hard math. So that's why I don't follow that book. But if you want to look at it, it should be available easily, like everything else. So in the negative half cycle.
Sir?
Yeah.
Sir, we have said that xt equals mt, but there would be some DC offset, right? Are we assuming it to be 0?
Yes. That's
Like,
why I'm saying that you
incomparable.
just get a bird's eye view of these circuits.
Okay.
See, we are already assuming ideal diodes, ideal filters, and all sorts of idealized things. Which, if you make me stand in front of the guy who taught you instrumentation, or possibly the guy who taught you analog circuits, they'll straight away murder me for making these kind of assumptions, right? Or at least fail me in their courses for making these kind of assumptions. But we are more interested in, so we are simply interested in a bird's eye view of these things. Exact analysis of these circuits is beyond the scope of this course. So anyway, coming back. Negative half cycle. P, Q, R, and S. So in the negative half cycle, the other two diodes will be forward biased, and so the switching action of the diodes would interchange in the negative half cycle, right? Which I believe is fairly obvious. So in the negative half cycle, so if CT equals AC cos we get XT equals MT minus MT K minus 1 over 4 TC less than K plus 1. T less than K plus 3 over 4 TC. Fine. Or XT equals MT PT, where PT equals 1, 0, copy. Fine. But so we had defined GT in the last lecture as sorry.
Won't it be -1 instead of 0?
Oh, sorry. Yes, -1. So this is GT from the last lecture. Sorry. So GT is actually right. This we defined in the last lecture and found the Fourier series coefficients. PT equals twice of GT minus half, right? Therefore, PT equals 4 over pi. We simply multiply the Fourier, we simply subtract half from the Fourier series that we derived yesterday and multiply it with 2. Cos 2 pi FCT plus 4 over pi summation k equal to 2 to infinity minus 1 to the power k minus 1. This helps us from avoiding reinventing the wheel. Ct 2k minus 1. Fine. So therefore, xt equals mt 4 over pi cos 2 pi fct plus mt 4 over pi k equal to 2 to infinity k minus 1 cos 2 pi fct into 2k minus 1. Fine. This and again using a bandpass filter such that xt equals, sorry, st equals ht time convolution with xt, I get xt equals 4mt over pi cos 2 pi fct. This
S of t.
Sorry? Yeah, S of t, sorry. S of t. Fine. And so this actually we can adjust the filter gain and get simply this. So there is something called the filter gain that we can change and get simply this. Now, talking about demod, so this is how we generate this signal. So had you been around, there was an experiment called the ring modulator. So this arrangement of diodes, this, so this thing, I'll just name it here. So this is called the ring modulator. So now let's talk about demodulation. So for demodulation, we know how to multiply two signals. So this ring modulator simply multiplies two signals, right? So I have ST equals MT cos 2 pi FCT.
Sir?
Yeah.
Now that we have like decreased the information that we're passing through them before, how would the signal look like? Like we've seen the frequency domain thing, but we haven't seen like the time domain.
Yeah. So just let me demonstrate. Thank you for asking this. So I'll just see. So MATLAB. Okay, I'll have to launch another MATLAB window. It'll take a minute, but we'll come to that. So you can see my MATLAB window, right? So I've changed the screen.
Yes, I can see it.
Yeah, so great. So the issue is that I'm running something else on MATLAB. So I have to launch another MATLAB session in order to show this. So it'll take a minute, but it'll be visible. So if you look at the code here, I can still change the code. What I'm changing is that mu times m plus c. I was doing this. Now I'm simply removing this 1 plus term over there. So all the MATLAB code is available in the SharePoint folder. So where's the yes, this is the SharePoint folder, and this is the MATLAB app. So I don't know why it says that my MATLAB license will expire in 14 days. Yes. So it's waking up. So as soon as it wakes up, I'll run this. So let me look at the code once. So this 1 plus I'll remove, save and run. So this and the modulation index won't matter now. So this is how it will look like. Fine. So there is something important that I want you to see. So actually, let me do this first for a regular AM signal. So this you see is a regular AM signal, right? And I move the modulation index to 1. You see that so this looks almost exactly the same as that signal. But one thing that I want you to notice over here is that when the modulation index is 1, what actually happens is when I zoom in here, when I zoom in at this trough, you see that the sinusoid is continuous over here, right? But when I talk about a suppressed carrier signal, so I'm now talking about a suppressed carrier signal. One thing is that the amplitude doesn't matter. It's simply the amplitude of the carrier signal that is coming into play. So nothing else matters. But in this case, when I zoom into these points, you see that the sinusoid is no longer continuous at this point. There is an abrupt phase change. You see that, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Why is it so?
So see, one thing is that in that case, in the continuous AM, you were having a 1 plus multiply 1 plus cos 2 pi fct. So the amplitude of the sinusoid was all, or the yes, the amplitude of the sinusoid was always greater than or equal to 1, the multiplying factor. The factor multiplying cos 2 pi fct was always greater than or equal to 0. So there was no phase change. But here, the factor multiplying the cos 2 pi fct can now be both positive as well as negative. And because of that, whenever there's a zero crossing, the phase of the carrier changes. That's why there's this abrupt phase change.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Great. So let's switch back to the board. So so you can see the board now, right? Oh, it's stuck. Yeah, it's there now. So ST is this. Now, let's say we know how to implement a multiplier. Since we know how to implement. So do one thing, actually look up AD633 or rather Google AD633. Okay, this is keep this as a short homework. So this is a multiplier IC. So AD stands for analog devices. So AD633 is an IC manufactured by Analog Devices that is used for multiplying two signals. So ST is this, and since we know how to implement a multiplier, define S prime T equals ST cos 2 pi FCT equals MT cos square 2 pi FCT equals MT by 2 1 plus cos 4 pi FCT. Fine. So I get this, and again using a band pass filter. Again using a band pass filter with a pass band gain of 2, I can calculate M hat T, which is an approximation of mt as m hat t equals mt. So this is how I recover. This is how I recover. Okay, so this is not visible yet. So maybe, yeah, now it's visible. So there's no minus sign here. This is just an equality. So this is how I recover a modulated signal from its copy. Now you would ask that if it is already so simple, then so this is quite straightforward. Then we get the same question again. Problem kya hai? The problem is that what you are multiplying with. So require multiplication with cos 2 pi fct at the transmitter and if so this cos 2 pi fct generated using a local. So you send a signal, at the transmitter you generate cos 2 pi fct, and at the receiver you generate cos 2 pi fct. Fine. So as simple as that, and using a local oscillator, and that should help you. But can anyone identify what's the problem with this approach?
Sir, if the two oscillators or the two locations are not properly, I mean, if they have difference in a small difference in FC, then the demodulated signal would be different from the modulated one.
That is one. That is known as carrier frequency offset. That we'll come to possibly in the digital part of communication. But assuming that those oscillators have exactly the same frequency, then also we have some issue. So let's say that since the two oscillators are different, they are at different physical locations. So they need not be exactly phase synchronized, right? And let's say that the receiver oscillator. So let's say that the transmitter oscillator generates CT, and so the transmitter generates CT and receiver generates C prime T, such that CT equals cos 2 pi fct and C prime T equals cos 2 pi fct plus delta. Now, repeating the same math, I can, and skipping a couple of steps, I can show that m hat t actually equals mt cos delta. So the phase difference between the transmitter side and the receiver side actually results in scaling of this m hat received signal by a constant. So what would happen is, since this cos delta is always less than 1, you will be receiving a smaller amplitude, which is still okay. But when delta gets close to pi by 2, what happens is that you receive nothing. Right. So this delta equals pi by 2 or a large phase difference between the transmitter and the receiver is a problem. So tomorrow we'll address this issue that how do we get rid of this phase difference, or how do we compensate for this phase difference?
Sir, with
Yeah.
the new design that we have implemented,
Yeah.
we have taken care of the power problem because now we are having one as a ratio.
We are not transmitting a carrier component now. And since we
Yes.
are not transmitting a carrier component, we automatically take care of the power problem. But at the same time, you see that that envelope detector that we devised earlier, there's no envelope to follow. I showed you the time domain signal, right?
Yes, sir.
And because the envelope keeps crossing over into the negative half cycle, there is no envelope that we can follow. And because of that, we can no longer use the envelope detector for demodulation. That is another point that I forgot to mention. Thank you for that. So we cannot use the envelope detector. So envelope detector is also called a non-coherent detector. We can use it for what is known as non-coherent detection, but here the non-coherent detection fails.
And sir, we are still yet to solve the second problem that we are facing, right? We
Yes, the second problem, bandwidth, we still have to solve. So once we solve the bandwidth problem, amplitude modulation will be over. There won't be much left in it. So, but this is how we solve the power problem. And you see that in solving the power problem, we have introduced another problem. Or we complicate the receive circuitry. We can no longer use the simple transmitting circuit that we had. Sorry, simple receiving circuit that we had.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I think we'll stop the discussion here. We are almost at the end of the class. But so the backlog students have an issue with the